And in terms of skills, I mean, when you're a graduate, you don't have a wealth of experience behind you, but you do have transferable skills. So what would you say were the desirable skills that you had, and how did you develop them during your time at university?
I think for me, like, two massive ones that came up were resilience, and I think it was the motivation part, because I remember I went into my interview with Chris Adcock, I want to say, and those are the two questions he was really keen to focus on. He was like, look, I want to know about resilience, and I want to know about what your motivation to work here is. And for me, that had come from kind of understanding what I was doing at university. Like, university in itself had been a difficult time for me because of everything that was going on. And that meant I built that resilience in that time, because I'd kept pushing to kind of get those grades or be part of societies that I thought I needed to be part of, and I developed those skills over time. And the other thing that I thought was really essential was the research skills, because I think it was before the interview I'd already done my research from different people within the industry to find out exactly what I would be asked in those interviews or what I would need to prepare for. And if I didn't have that understanding or that knowledge, I wouldn't have done that, and maybe I would have gone into those interviews a little bit unprepared or not knowing of what I would be asked potentially.
Yeah, for sure. Same for me, how I found it. I mean, alongside that, I found a lot of the personality skills you kind of develop at university was quite a big thing. So for me, you can kind of, I felt like I got across the sociableness, like being able to talk to people. The fact, to be quite frank, you can multitask, you can get a high grade in your degree whilst also enjoying your time was quite a nice thing to be recognised, because it was a lot harder than it sounds. And I felt like they looked at you as a person quite a bit in the experiences you've had.
Yeah, I think for me, I'd very much echo the personality-based stuff. I think the role I'm in particular is all about networking and getting to know people, and it's a lot of having conversations with people and trying to be able to get along with anyone. But I think that combined with, I think organisation was the other key skill for me. And I remember that sort of the thing that I transferred most was kind of my last 6 months at uni, organising my time to make sure I got my dissertation done. I got everything done in terms of studying for exams and got final essays in and things like that. Transferred heavily when it came to planning my day here. So it's a little different in terms of I operate day by day here, and my plans are a bit more flexible, but I had to adapt that. But I wouldn't have been able to do that without the planning that came from university, and I think it's fit really well for me.
Brilliant. So now that you've been on the scheme, I mean, some of you are in your second year going to your third, Dylan, you're in your first going to your second, but what would you say, or what advice would you give to maybe a past self that was applying from university?
Demonstrate more than just necessarily your career experience. Obviously, that's crucial that you show off your work experience, but you want to show everything you did outside of it. I personally don't think my work experience got me the role. I think the work I did at university with my workers in the society I was in, for example, or the external bits I did, sports, etc., I felt like it developed me more as a person, and that was just as important as the experience you've had in your career. So don't get too obsessed with, I've only had a year's in industry, for example, or you've had no year in the industry. Focus on what you're good at, and show off that you're more than just a career, basically.
Yeah, I think for me, looking back, it would be very much similar along the lines of I did quite a lot to try and make my CV look as if I had a super strong work ethic from having sort of part-time jobs and bits on the side and things like that, but it's actually more demonstrating you as a person. And I think that the best thing about grad schemes is they're not necessarily looking for that work experience of someone who's done 9 to 5 before and can hop straight into an entry-level role. They're actually looking for the personality traits of someone who can be really successful. And I think looking back, if I had sort of one piece of advice to myself, it would be focus on the traits that are going to make me successful rather than on, I mean, I did every single job you can imagine under the sun at uni. So, focusing on getting that, I wish I'd gone back and focused more on developing my sort of soft skills ready for a role.
I think, yeah, echoing exactly what kind of Dylan and Ross said, I think for me, it was a case of I was trying to put out this persona of this perfect graduate that they would be looking for. in reality, it's all about like being yourself, because any interview that I went to, they always asked me questions about who I was as a person, rather than just, oh, what did you do at university, or what did you do in your work experience. It was always about what motivates you, you know, what excites you, who you are as a person. I think that's what they're always looking for, but sometimes we try to think that that's not important because all they're looking at is my work experience, but that's not the case like 95% of the time.